And then gently let go, bringing our hands into prayer pose, bowing towards our own heart, until all the hearts in the circle. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mitroma Amritangamaya Aum Shanti Shanti Shanti. We inhale deeply, we suspend our breath. And exhale. Good, we're resting our hands onto our knees, bringing our chin towards our chest. Exhaling here. Inhale, slowly bring your head back just as far as your neck allows you. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose. Just move your head forward and back. And stretch your neck muscles. You're saying yes. Two more times. And then we bring our head to center, inhaling to the left, turning our head to the left, exhaling to the right. All breath through the nostrils. One more time. And coming to center, bringing our left ear towards our left shoulder, stretching the right side of our neck, and then exhaling, going right ear, right shoulder. Very slowly. Now we can easily overstretch here, and then we're in trouble. So be gentle, especially early in the morning. Opening up your throat chakra so that you can speak your truth. Be authentic, not holding back, not being overpowering. Good, one more time. And then you bring your right hand above your left ear. And you bring your head slightly to the right. Your left arm is stretched out a little bit. And you just stay here for 3 deep breaths. Now inhale through the nose, exhale, open mouth. And then we want to repeat the same on the other side. Walk your fingers in space a little away so you feel the stretch and the opening. And then we come to center. We bring both arms out to the side. Parallel, palms facing down. That's your inhalation, exhalation. Cross your arms. See that you're not bending your arms, that they really stay straight. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. All breath through the nostrils. This is actually great for our lymph, but it's also great for our brain. Always remember when we are crossing in front of our body, either the legs or the arms, we're stimulating our brain capacity. Strong breath, have an emphasis on your exhalation. Last 10. Good. Inhale into Namaskar. Prayer pose in front of your heart center. And exhale here. Inhale, lean forward with a straight spine. So if you have a big breaststroke through the air, bring your fingers behind you, arch your spine, look up towards your ceiling, head is slightly dropped. Then bring your arms up, overhead, palms touch, exhale back to Namaskar. Inhale forward. Exhale, bring your arms behind, arch your spine. Inhale, bring your arms up. Exhale, back towards the heart. 3 more times. Inhale, lean forward. Then arch, exhale. Inhale, bring your arms up. Exhale towards the heart. 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more time up. And exhale towards the heart. Last movement for this morning. We want to bring our arms up again. And then we twist to the right. That's your exhale. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist to the left. Have your palms touch because I want to activate your brain. Inhale, exhale. Gentle twist, look over the shoulder. Daily twisting is really necessary for us. Five more repetitions. Good. Inhale up towards the center. Exhale towards your heart. Rest your hands onto your knees, palms facing upward. Take 3 deep breaths. Inhale, nose. Exhale, open mouth. Good, my dears. We're ready for Nirmala.
Thank you, Siddhi.
You're welcome.
Today, Siddhi and I are going to have an interaction dialogue around a question that one of our ladies, or 2 of our ladies actually posed around the spiritual journey and its impact and the relationships that can be impacted in our lives when we're on a spiritual journey and others in our life are not, particularly family members, but not exclusively, because you'll find in the journey, spiritual journey, that even friendships and relationships outside of your primary family are impacted. And it's a really powerful question as to how we experience that and what we do with that. And so, Siddhi, can you be in this? Let's see. You can be here.
Yeah.
I think it will. Can we be side by side? Do we know how to do that?
Let me see.
I don't know.
Most likely we can. No, now we have speaker view. Hang on. Oh. I think it goes. I don't know how to do this right now.
That's all right. Then it'll go back and forth. So I know as a teacher, I've had students and friends ask me this all the time, that they experience that as soon as their spiritual journey starts to really blossom and become a relevant part of their life, a significant part of their life, that while they're shifting, everything around them starts to shift. And there's that wonderful little saying that be careful what you ask for, because it just might come and in a form you're not expecting. There's just an explosion when there's an internal movement for you personally. There's an explosion that happens around you that is energetic as well as logistics, how you move through your day and how you're incorporating your eating and your quiet time and what types of activities you're more interested in participating in and less interested in participating in. And how do we consciously sort of navigate that so that we include those who want to be on the journey with us and keep them close in our lives, but we don't exclude those who don't? How do we keep those who are less interested? So one of the things that I want to say is that fewer people on this planet are consciously and intentionally bringing in a spirit journey than those who aren't. So it's very likely that we have family and friends who are not as interested in the process, and they may find that your activities and your focus is leaving them out, that they're not feeling that they're as much a part of your life because your intentions are taking you elsewhere. And that's just from a number standpoint, it's just likely to happen. So what to do with that? Siddhi, can you speak a little bit to, I know you and I were chatting about it yesterday, and you were saying some really lovely things about honoring our own journey and our own path. Then can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, and I just want to make it very personal because I think we should not generalize here. So for me, I felt like when, so to speak, spirit was calling, sure enough, I had a choice, but on one hand, I didn't. Because once I was called by spirit, that was it. And my life so changed dramatically. I did lose a lot of friends. I did lose even the connection to my mother for the longest time because she thought I'm in a cult, which I probably was from her point of view. It's right. So what I felt is like I had to be true to my vertical relationship, because if I wouldn't have honored that relationship, I would have, given up on myself, on my spiritual development. And I literally would have lived a life in compromise. And that would have led to resentment for sure. So for me, it was always the choice, spirit comes first, and then all other relationships, the horizontal relations, come second. And I have lived my life, I would say, over 40 years now like this. And what it requires is a lot of respect and honor for those who don't choose this path, because it's so easy to say this path is the right path, but it's just right for me. So with my partners and my children, I just needed to embrace their path. And I saw that as my spiritual practice. They weren't that excited about it, but then we learned to honor each other's path. And I think that's also part of being spiritual. And to embrace that somebody, loves more the, I don't know, football or the tennis, or they find their outlet there. And I just don't. And I think it really worked well in my life that those that stayed with me, or I stayed with them, that we really found respect and embracing each other's path, and coming from each path is the right path for that person. And I think that's crucial. But today I can say I could have never given up my vertical relationship. And I remember very vividly that my partner one morning said in bed, he said, Siddhi, can you not for once stay in bed on Sunday and just hang out with me? And I was getting out of bed when he said that. And I looked at him and I said, if I would stay in bed with you, my relationship with you would change, and we most likely wouldn't stay together, because this comes first, ever. So, and I might be very rigid in that department, but that's how it is for me. So, because I think if I am in tune with myself, if I honor myself, I can honor those around me. So that's what's there for me.
Well, you have to know that Siddhi is very disciplined, having much time with Siddhi, traveling and whatnot. I will stay in bed on Sunday morning and she will get up and do her practices. So not all of us are as disciplined, but I think one of the point that you're making is that we have to honor ourselves and where we are in our journey. We do not have to sell the spiritual journey to anyone, a spouse or friends or children, that us living into our truth and into our really our consciousness without saying anything. You know, we know as mothers, it's more what you do than what you say. We can tell somebody 1,000 times to do something, but if we just do it and they're conscious at all, they see it being done and the benefits. And when your family sees and your friends see that you're not behaving strangely, I think our close friends and family's biggest concern is that the spiritual journey is really when you start following a teacher and you start really incorporating it into your life, that you are in really a cult, some sort of a strange group that's gathering with rules and regulations and whatnot. And that can be frightening to them. So just acknowledging that for your family and friends, but also staying who you are. When they see that who you are is still showing up in the world, the you they knew, as well as the you that is also taking on aspects of a spiritual journey, it becomes less threatening to them. So how I really stay in contact with my family around my journey, but not about the inner workings of that journey. That I let just be an expression of who I am. And when they relate to that expression, it becomes easier for them to accept that my journey might take me away from them, that has me having different eating habits and different sleep patterns, and all of the ways that the spiritual journey as a discipline can change your routine and be not in alignment with what you used to do in terms of your family or your friends and how you would meet, and even the socialness of the journey. You become a bit more introverted when you're spending more time in your spiritual journey. You're journeying inward. And as that inward journey happens, our outside world takes on a different context. We have a different relationship with it. And so people see us as retreating, but that's not really what's happening. We're just expanding an internal process instead of the external process. And so I talk to my family and friends about that. But what I try to do is to meet them where they are. And if they are interested in more about the journey, then I share it. I don't diminish what's happening inside of myself on any level. I just don't have to speak it all the time. I don't have to convince them that it's interesting for me or it might be interesting for them. While we're chatting about this, if anyone has a specific question or even a comment, because I know many of you have mentioned to me that it's been a challenge for you through different relationships and friendships, please feel free to add them in the chat section, and Siddhi and I will try to address them. But I think that if we remember that we are on the journey, it's really a solitary journey, and we do it in community as we are right now. But in the world, as you go through your day, it's your own. For me, I feel like it's my own internal process that's so yummy inside of me that flows out of me, but I don't have to speak it. So I can just move through my day and have this whole internal beautiful process that's going on, that's giving me sustenance and joy and a sense of being connected to the universe in a different way. And I don't have to have spoken a single word about it to anyone. And so the relationships in my life don't feel as threatened by it as if I have to speak to it. And it's common when we start a journey or when we're having revelation or epiphanies or insights that we want to share them. We want to say, hey, this is happening within me and to me and through me. And people may not want to hear that in your life. That may not be the place where they want to be in relationship with you. So we can have an internal process and a discipline that supports our spiritual journey and still have an external life that is one of sharing with our friends and our family in the events and the activities that they like to do. They don't have to be separate. That you can walk as a householder. One of the big things that we study and learn a lot about in the Eastern tradition is that there are so many different levels and ways of integrating your spiritual journey. And householders, those who live in the world, like we are all living in the world, they're not brahmachari, they're not monks, they're not ascetics, they are in the world, in business, with families, that is as relevant and deep and powerful a spiritual journey as those who wear the orange clothes and the red clothes and are doing the more cloistered journey. That doesn't make their journey more powerful or less powerful. Being in the world is a huge spiritual process, as we know. Being in relationships, showing up in the world and going through a day that looks sort of normal is hugely demanding. And so I want to honor that you are doing that just by getting up in the morning and doing whatever activities and interacting with the people in your lives. That is as much and as significant a spiritual journey as if you were in an ashram and meditating in a temple. Those are different ways to be doing this journey. And so we don't have to isolate ourselves, and we can still have this really beautiful internal process that's going on that shows up on our face and in our being and how we respond. We're spending so much time learning how to respond. We've talked about how is it that we're in a state where when things are happening, we are able to be in a moment of quietness and stillness before we respond to something, that we can take the time and the rhythm to do that. We speak a lot to that in this group, and in our awareness of our process in each day. How are we in this deep awareness? That can go on amidst everything we're doing. It's not a separate entity. You don't enter and exit your spiritual life. Your life is spiritual. You are a spirit. There's no separateness in it. And if you want to take it to another level and add more disciplines and more consciousness around that in a daily way of, setting aside an hour or two or whatever you want, that's a beautiful addition to your life, but it doesn't have to change how you are in terms of still participating and being a part of the outside householder life that you are a part of. And so that internal struggle doesn't have to be such a struggle. We can just relinquish it and allow ourselves to be joyful in both places, not either or. And when we stop having judgment about it being needing to be a certain way, then we can actually move more smoothly and with more equanimity in the way that we're entering in. And it's really beautiful to imagine that you have a foot in both worlds. You're here. You're doing the process. You all have practices. You're showing up on Saturday mornings. So you have a foot in both worlds. And some people will be standing on one foot more of the day than the other, and some will be equally balanced. So it's okay. That's okay. There's not a rule about how that has to be for you. It's only that you're honoring yourself. And if your connection with the divine requires you to change some of your lifestyle and some of the ways that you're showing up in the world, that you honor that that's happening, and then you find a way to make it work within the context of the fullness of your life. Siddhi, do you have something you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, I just thought, I think we are always growing continuously. Yeah. So now I think in every relationship, maybe with the children, the lover, there's always this part in my observation that one moves into this direction, and the one who is not on the same path experiences fear of abandonment and loss. Yeah, and I think that's something to acknowledge with each other, because we will always grow. There will always somebody who moves a little bit forward or to the side. And to have those conversations, what is the fear about? Because when we fall in love with this person, but that person is not there the next day, already changed. And I think it's also learning to be in a way with each other that we fall in love or into grace with each other every day newly, that we always exploring each other every day newly and see, is that the person, I want to be with today? So, and I think we haven't learned that. We learned that we get together in the beginning and then we stay in love with this person until we die. but there are shifts we are going through as an individual, as a woman, as a man, you know, whatever orientation we have. So, and I think if I move on and onto my spiritual path, it is a growth opportunity for me, but it's also a growth opportunity for everyone around me. And I think having these conversations is really crucial. You know, and often I go my way, this is my spiritual path, and you know, you got to catch up or not. But that's not how we want to add. And I think that's what you nicely mentioned, Nemala, is like, okay, how can we embrace it, and how can we be with the fear that might be present, coming from the fear back to love and loving each other in our differences.
Yeah. That's so beautiful. Lishan just made a comment in our chat section about everyone being beautifully where they should be, and they are on their own spiritual journey, and everyone has their own timeline, and we cannot be witness to that in terms of knowing what is somebody else's timeline. We can only know our own, and we can only experience our own. So to be in awareness that someone else's timeline, in who we love and adore and want to share ours with, we may not be on the same timeline. We most likely aren't. And it makes it harder to share the journey, even to articulate it, because there's not a place to share it, because the language and the experience is not the same. But we can still address the fear. I think Siddhi's point of, if somebody is feeling that they're falling away from us, or we're falling away from them, we can address that. And that in our acceptance of everyone being exactly where they are at the time, and maybe they have, they only are tipping their toe into that stream, and we've already gone in waist, to our waist, or we've already plunged all the way in. That's okay. That's beautiful. And we share from that place, and wherever we can connect in that place, will be a beautiful experience for us, and a teaching. Always, we are a teacher and a student with one another. Always in our relationship, it ebbs and flows. Our children are as much our teachers as we are, certainly for them, maybe more so. And our friends are the same way. They can teach us humility and an acceptance of the path we're on, as well as the path that someone else is on. So that is exquisite. To imagine which times we're the teacher and which times we're the student, and allow ourselves to have that flow in our lives. It's really, that's exquisite too. So
yeah, I also think, Nirmala, it's important to embrace the possibility that we come with our partners to a crossroad, and one turns left and the other does turn right. Yeah, but that can happen for every kind of reasons. But that's also there, that we are in gratitude for the time we had, and that we want to go in different directions. And that's always present too. And to be fine with that. Acknowledging that, and nobody's wrong.
No.
This is.
So as just in conclusion, because I know we have a chanting that we would like to do, and we need the time aside for that, just to be honoring ourselves and our path, and not to feel that we have to cover up and be something other than, so that it makes someone else comfortable. We have to be honest, and we have to show up in the world with the truth of who we are, but we don't have to blast it. We can be graceful and gentle and sweet about it. And we'll find that gets more bees than being the air blower in the garden. We can be sweet and allow ourselves to just move through the world in our own experience of our spiritual journey, and see what happens, and see what inquiry comes out of that, and see where people want to meet you and where people need to move away. That's okay too. So I just honor that all of you are doing this journey, and that we're sharing it together. Siddhi and I really enjoy the beauty of the gathering, and we know that it's impacted your life, not specifically the gathering, but the journey you're on has impacted your life in ways that are exquisite and beautiful, and in ways that are challenging. And that there are people in your lives who are less entertained by your choices around your spiritual journey, but you have support through all of us, and through the other avenues in your life, that there is support for the spirit journey, and that we should ask one another for it when we need it. So just to know that we're here for that, for all of you. And we really love to be sharing with you, to be journeying with you. It's really an exquisite honor.
Thank you. So we would like this morning to do chanting, and chanting on Zoom is a bit different because we won't hear each other's voices. I would like for you to, so we will chant Om Namah Shivaya, and I do not want to go into any explanation. I want you just to have the vibration talk to you and through you. Yeah, and then next weekend, we can talk about the mantra in itself, but that's how I learn chanting. It's just to listen and then go into the vibration and tune into it and feel what it does to me and not analyze it or, use my mind to identify, if I get obsessed by it or something. No, just trust that every chant, has a very positive vibration, and be with the vibration and the experience you have internally, and see if you allow yourself to surrender to it. So we will chant this morning with Sadhguru, it's Nirmala's and my teacher. So, and we invite you to go into it. If you feel uncomfortable, you don't have to chant, then allow just the vibration to be there. It's really your choice. But it's a wonderful experience, trust me, maybe. So bring your palms.
And not to interrupt you, but it's nice to take off your glasses so you can really sit and have and not be encumbered, or we're not looking at anything, we're just having the experience.
And then, thank you. And then having the hands, palms facing upward on our knees, that's a mudra in itself. So you don't touch any finger to any other finger. Yeah, you just have your hands here. You see that your spine is as straight as you can have it. Bring your chin slightly turned upward. You can have a mild focus between your eyebrows. And then just see. And it's just Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Shivaya. Om Namah 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 Shivaya. Om
Just for a moment, sit in silence. And when you're ready, you're bringing your palms together. Keep your eyes closed on the transition, please. Stay inward. Inhale. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you all for coming and being with us. Have a beautiful week. Namaste.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, there are a lot of chats. Let me just